Welcome, everybody, to a beautiful winter solstice gathering where we have a great group of people joining together online, live on Zoom, and also you. Thank you for being here, whether you're listening to the replay for the first time or listening to the replay just to get more movement. Thank you. Thank you for joining together. First thing we're going to do is we're going to welcome the guides, welcome source, welcome to divine consciousness. Just take a moment to feel into the sacred space. This is like a sacred space where there's a place on earth, like it's in a cave at the base of Mount Kailash, which is up near Nepal and in Tibetan mountains. And it also interface with divine realms, goddess realm, the sister realm, the angelic realm, to really provide a vehicle for evolutionary energy to serve what? To serve you, to serve the collective, to serve, to heal, to awaken, to evolve, to help the planet realize that it is so much more than this physical meat puppet that we walk around in, and that you are a greater creation itself. Welcoming the Angel Jophiel. So the Angel Jophiel comes into your system in a way that's very organic, very safe. And she comes into your crown and into your heart and spine. And so I'm going to let you experience this. So on the count of three, the Angel Jophiel is going to come into your system. And what she does is just serves as an anchor, as a space for you to really experience the energy that is in your highest and best interest. So welcoming the Angel Jophiel, coming in on the count of three, two, one. Ooh. And welcoming the winter solstice angels. Solstice angels have been with me all day. I lit a fire earlier. They were celebrating the the flames, the energy of fire, the elements, celebrating our togetherness today. So they're here. Oh, they seem a little bit more serious than earlier. Yeah. So my prediction is where we're going to be going is to really explore the darkness, which isn't a real popular thing. Like if I said this were a winter solstice celebration to go into the darkness, people be like, no, that feels like I'm going to the dentist. But no, it's not. Darkness is a pathway to wisdom. When we deconstruct what we fear, it creates a strength, a resilience, an acceptance, and allowing, and understanding, a compassion, not just for yourself, but for anyone and everything experiencing the same thing. And so there's so much darkness out in the world today. So if we can go into any kind of darkness and help break it down, even just a little bit, think of the ripple effect, huh? So welcome your guides, welcome the Angel Jophiel, welcoming you for this time together. First thing we're going to do is create a little bit of sound healing. And in this space of sound healing, what we're going to do is take 3 deep breaths in, and on the exhale, either out loud if you have the space and the luxury to do it yourself, saying the syllable Om. Om is a Sanskrit mantra that literally translates into the sound of the divine, the sound of the universe. And so breathing in on the first breath and exhaling out, elongating the sound of Om. And if you can't do it out loud, just allow the vibration of what you're hearing, or even let it resonate within you and all around you. So let's try it, shall we? Taking the first deep breath in. Om. And the second breath. Om. And the third breath. Om. Beautiful. To me, what the sound vibration does is really enhance that sense of 0 point energy that can seem like just a deeper form of stillness or of silence. So just tune into that. And the next thing we're going to do is do a practice of grounding that I call the earth breath. And the earth breath really's purpose is not just to ground, but to illuminate what isn't grounded within you by inviting you to be more present in your body. Your body is grounded with the earth, your body is intertwined with your divinity, this trinity of divinity grounded in your body within the earth. So that's the purpose. And whatever your experience of this, allow it to be. Sometimes, again, it can feel a little out of sorts, or it can just feel natural. So, focusing on your grounding cord, which is at the base of your spine, what I'm going to do, especially for those who are new, is update and upgrade your grounding cord. Your grounding cord is calibrated to the time you came onto the planet. And so upgrading your grounding cord is kind of like getting a software update. We're all familiar with those, right? And this grounding cord is calibrated more to high frequencies, to the highest frequencies on the planet today. There we go. And now bridge those grounding cord structures, updating. And to me, it just seems like it's more easier to flow within your system or to find that grounding within your system, a little less resistance. Because the earth is changing, we're changing. Our ability to ground within the earth, a lot of our grounding practices have to do with walking in nature, swimming, planting, putting our hands in the soil. And we always ground through our lower chakras. And so updating your grounding cord with high frequency structures creates more of a ability to connect because the earth is raising her vibration, but yet when we raise our vibration, it highlights what isn't resonating in a high frequency, kind of like shaking everything up. And that's why we see a lot of chaos out there. Chaos can be chaotic. Chaos can be creative. All depends on your point of view, your awareness. There we go. And those structures took a little bit longer to really come into form for some of you. So now breathing down through your grounding cord now, down through the chair you're sitting on, the bed, the floor, through the various layers of the building or your home into the sub basement. And let's push our way through the topsoil down into the earth. The various substrata, the geological layers, the groundwater, the shale, the granite down into the very molten core. We're inviting you to plug into the heart of Gaia, our Earth Mother, like we're plugging in to a light socket, or more appropriately, an umbilical cord. And as we connect with Earth on this beautiful winter solstice, Earth is saying, I want to give you a blessing. So if you set any intention for today, or even if you didn't, if you just want to open up and receive this blessing from Mother Earth, beautiful. Blessing feels very peaceful, very welcoming. Our Earth Mother is what our bodies are made of. So reconnect. We're connecting with that natural primordial sense of self that a lot of our bodies have forgotten because they're filled with conditioned consciousness, those beliefs and patterns from how we were raised and grown up. But not only that, the beliefs and patterns from our ancestors and many of our past lives that apply to what we're going through right now. And of course, the soup of collective consciousness, there's a whole lot of karma between us and the heart of earth and grounding. So she's refueling us. So just imagine your feet are connected to the center of the earth, and we're going to bring this essence up, this reminder of your true nature as a grounded, anchored human being into the soles of your feet, to your ankles and shins and calves and knees, into your thighs, into your pelvic girdle, all your cells and atoms and fascia and tissue and liquids, blood, oxygen, up through your core, to all your organs, to your ribs and sternum and heart and shoulders, down each of your arms, into your hands and palms, up your spine, into your neck, your face, eyes, ears, hair, crown, where your higher self really infusing with this invitation to be present, not only with the body, but the body as the earth. Of course, this is an embodiment practice, but to me, it's also a diagnostic, because as we invite this unification process, this process which reminds you of your oneness, body, mind, spirit, it oftentimes bumps into what doesn't want to be grounded. And on this night of the darkest light, the darkest night of the year, the idea of darkness can be frightening and scary. Of course, we learn all those stories when we were younger, and we watch all those movies, a lot of dark movies, a lot of dark TV shows, a lot of dark news going on all around us. So if we can deconstruct or break down or even break our attachment to some of that fear, beautiful. So we're just acknowledging the light, just acknowledging our higher self, just acknowledging our body and acknowledging the earth, inviting it all to become one. We started with breath, and so inviting you to still breathe as one breath. The earth breathing you, the divine breathing you. One breath, one heartbeat, one connection. It helps if you're a visual person. You can just imagine that you're in this beam of light that's shining down and becomes rooted like a tree, deeply rooted into the center of the earth, with you as the tree, or you in the center. If you're having a hard time with this, because again, a lot of energies are flowing, and it is a diagnostic, try breathing in through your nose in a yoga breath, breathing up through your nose to a count of 4, receiving this oneness. And then exhaling out with your mouth, like like a like a big whoosh, like you're letting go of anything that doesn't want to be grounded and connected and flowing. This helps with the central nervous system, like a breath massage. Breathing in through your nose to a count of 4. Exhaling out with your mouth, letting go. Yeah, that's amazing. That helped a lot of you. Because when we started out with the idea of meeting darkness, part of your central nervous system may have been alerted. And what happens when our central nervous system gets alerted? It says danger. And so what I'm going to do is recalibrate each of your chakras. So continue on with this earth breath, which is with as much focus as you can give it. Breathing as the earth breathing you, interconnected, grounded, anchored with your divinity, like a plumb line running straight through it all. One breath, one heartbeat. If you're doing the yoga breath, you're in this beam of light. Continue that on for the next few minutes as I go into each of your chakras to ask, what's going on? Now we're going to start with what's called the Earth Star. Earth Star is your subroot first chakra. Yep. So that's it. We're running into a pattern of fear related to darkness. And it could be almost anything. And because this is a big group, we always ask introspective questions. So just notice what's going on as I come into recalibrating and how it applies to you. And if you don't know, don't worry about it. Again, remember the directive. Relax, open up, receive. Let the energy do the work. Beautiful. Nice little clearing in your subroot first chakra. Subroot first chakra about a foot below your feet. Really related to how you connect and ground into the earth. Now coming into your root chakra. And this fear is a little bit more disconnected, almost like you're resisting it or you're unaware of it. For a lot of you who've done a lot of fear work, it's probably just a deeper layer of something you've already addressed. And this specific fear may be different for everybody, but it's related to the word darkness. So when you think of darkness, what sparks within you? What fear is still present within you? There we go. That became a little bit more. Yeah. For some of you, it may be associated with the word I am bad, which may translate to some of you as I am evil. You hear the word darkness. And that can translate, especially if you're triggered by evil events. And this is something we deal with consistently in our groups. Evil is a state of consciousness that is attached to an illusory um, identification. So if we can break down evil and break down the hold it has, the trigger it has, and of course there's evil all around the world. We have evil events going on that we can attribute to war, to power, to corruption, all sorts of things. But when we break down evil within us, when these things happen externally, we become forces of great change because we are acting from a place of freedom. It's like, to give you an example, the war on peace. You can't have a war against peace, like what's going on in the Middle East. You can't fight for peace. Peace is a state of consciousness. Peace is an active element that shows itself in words, in deeds, and be in the way we treat each other. Same with evil. So if we can break down our affiliation with that word, wow, when it happens around us, think of the freedom we have to then respond in whatever way we need to. Pretend that we don't have darkness. I am bad. I am evil. Is resistance, denial, avoidance. Because our ancestors surely participated. We have karmic lives that participated. Maybe we have done things in our lifetime that may have seemed bad or ugly or even horrible. Beautiful. It's all in the root chakra. Can you believe that? So now coming into your sacral chakra. Yep, there we go. It's a more guttural feeling in your sacral chakra. And you may feel more comfortable with the word I am bad. You know, the times that we are told that as a kid, that experience we have had over the years that may have used self-criticism. When we go deeper into your dimensionality, that sense of being bad, not being lovable, can be related to a sense of being evil. That's why there's just so many horror movies out there. Oh my goodness, I see them on all the streaming services and on shows on TV, the death and destruction shows. And wow, how are people attracted to that? Well, because all the crime shows. Because we carry it in our human consciousness. So imagine the power, the empowerment of deconstructing that within you. And your ability to act, your ability to speak, or even your ability to show compassion or understanding or set boundaries. Huh? Yeah. Beautiful. Hold on, another. There we go. Yeah, with those that rib injury I had, it was next to impossible to do that kind of breathing a couple of days ago. Now, grace of God, grace of God. Coming into the solar plexus. And there's the fear. So the fear is more or less attached to judgment, self-judgment, judgment from others, judgment by quote unquote God, judgment by the world around us, where we have this view of right and wrong. And breaking down our identity to it, our attachment to it, our positionality creates space of freedom, where then we can choose to just be. Whatever arises, to be in the flow of things, whether it's bad or good, we respond from a place of truth and freedom. But it takes work to get to that place. Again, it's not easy, it's very courageous, a lot of bravery because you go into these patterns. For the last 4 months, we've been going into the pattern of anger. Whew, doggy. I can honestly tell you, and I've been doing this work 17 years, past 4 months for me, biggest biggest, most difficult. I actually thought about giving up this work. That's how big it was for me. I'm like, I don't know if I can do this anymore. I didn't even want to show up to this. But I hold a lot of anger, so it makes a lot of sense. But for others, they found freedom and they found new ways to address anger when it does, to not be so judgmental with themselves, to be more compassionate to self and others. Not easy work, a lot of self-awareness. Yeah, a little bit of resistance and control pattern in the third chakra. So now coming into the heart again to recalibrate. Yep, there's that I am bad, that self-judgment, self-criticism, and the expectation of criticism from others. There we go. So now I can see why sometimes, even though it says it's a winter solstice work and the whole spiritual community is about love and light, and you almost think that, oh, hey, this winter solstice celebration should just be soaking in all this love and light. Well, a spiritual path of enlightenment is about going into the darkness, especially on the darkest night of the year, to reset, to restore, to revitalize, means to shake out everything that isn't light. What a blessing that is. And we get so much help doing it, so much grace. So in the heart center, there's a little bit of resistance, and that's why I'm talking. There we go. Some anger there, some frustration, some suspicion, some fear. There we go. This work is really good with trauma because trauma is always never one thing. It's an entangled mess of a lot of different things. Now, pointing at the throat chakra. Yeah, there's all the times you either swallowed something very unattractive, what you would consider bad or judgmental. Gosh, we live in such a bad community that sometimes, and sometimes when we swallow, we think that to ourselves. That's swallowing our words. Healthy expression is to speak your emotions, to allow them to come out. That's not always possible in this politically correct world, or in families that don't teach us, or in environments or schools that don't teach us to regulate our emotions, to be healthy. Instead, we live in a very judgmental, very trauma-oriented, competitive society. So love and light is almost an escapism there, where the true path to enlightenment says, hey, let's go into the dark, take away all its hold over me. It's not always easy, but it's so rewarding, so beneficial. Whew. There we go. Nice shift in the throat. Now coming into the brow chakra, where your eyes see, your ears hear, the way your brain thinks, prefrontal cortex, and how it processes information, your brain stem, top of your nervous system. There we go. Amygdala. Beautiful. Nice reset there. And now flowing out the crown, opening the crown to the extent that you're ready to receive solstice energies helping. Your solstice Angels helping with a lot of solstice energy, a lot of high frequency, a lot of crystalline, Christed energy. Christed energy, very, very filled with light and sacred geometry. But again, the more light you allow into your system, remember, the more it shakes up what isn't light. And our bodies are karmic. The earth is a karmic planet. What is karma? Our incarnational package, the past lives, the consequences of living past lives, cause and effect. So now the next phase is regulation. Regulation asks the central nervous system, asks the brain, asks the body, ooh, what is out of sorts for this purpose here today? And it's going right to the central nervous system, right to your heart, your emotional body, your mental body, your brain, and the neural pathways that want to fire in a place of repetitive, complaining isn't the right word, repetitive judgment. To the psychological body. There we go. Regulation is a beautiful mixture of elemental and divine energies going into the physical body, the form, the body mind, the energetic bodies, pathways, chakras, your whole system in preparation for wherever we're working here today to ask what needs to be regulated. What is dysregulated? For a lot of people, that is our central nervous system. And when we say the word evil or darkness, where does the judgment go? Most people, again, when they hear this, wouldn't necessarily choose it or may want to sign off or may have already signed off. But maybe your expectation was, I just want to be uplifted. And that is what a lot of the central nervous system wants to do in today's day and age. It wants to distract itself. And a whole society full of distraction in our smartphones, in our television programs, in our busy, distracted lives. It takes a whole different kind of awareness to get silent and still, and to really look and discover what is motivating us, who we are at our core, and what covers it all up. At our core, we are wholeness. We are part of the universe. We are many universes. Divine being in a human body. There's so many different explanations. Our awake awareness, looking around in this meat suit puppet that holds a whole bunch of conditioning. And as we awaken, this conditioning gets reframed, repositioned, breaks down. Wonderful. So regulation, bringing a lot of calmness, a lot of relaxation. Especially to the central nervous system, but also the mental, emotional bodies, to the physical body. Wherever this pattern may be held in our organs, systems, the immune system. Oof. When the nervous system is flaring up, it affects everything else. Cardiovascular system, your hormonal system, biochemistry. So regulation that's why I don't do any of this. It's source millions of little, what you would call micro sacred beings working within your system, following the intention of regulation. And now this next phase is embrace. Embrace asks, what is resistant? What is resistant to this pattern of dark fear? And here's where you can use your awareness if you're still awake and you're following along. What is fearful about the word darkness? When we have been working here today, what has arisen for you? How is it manifesting in your life? Are you attracted to crime programs, and do you distract yourself with a lot of um, negativity, or is just the very news that's going on triggering for you? Do you avoid it? It's fearful of darkness. Just allow that to sit. And if you're listening to the replay, it might be a good time to put it on pause and maybe make a list. Because ultimately, we're letting Source break that pattern down within us. And here in Embrace, the frequencies of nurturing, of safety, of protection. A lot of water energy coming in. Water energy is flowing, creates a lot of flow because fear is a contraction. It's a constriction. It's a density. It's shutting down. It's a block. It's an imbalance. So water energies really bring in the sense flowing. So there's nothing damming it up. Even if there's a giant rock of a block of fear, it just moves around it because we want to be able to have movement here. And our own resistance, even if it's unconscious, can prevent that. Beautiful. That's real quick. You sense more stillness in your body now, or sacredness, or space. That's the phase of embrace. I'm going to put in a whole bunch of structures. When you realize that you're dimensional, it kind of blows your mind. In fact, it's really hard to imagine because you are, as an energetic being, connected to everyone and everything. You can kind of think in the matrix, but it's doesn't even do its service. So you are a vast part, interfaced with everything. And so these structures help pinpoint where we're going in this vast map of you. So structures are pointed at deconstructing, breaking down, transforming. Remember that word I used before? The fear of darkness within you. My favorite is GPS structures, which pulls in all the various options of structures available. Oh, interesting. We're going to harmonize your pathways, the elements within your pathways. Yeah, this may be very physical for some of you. Wonderful. That brought a little bit more flow to some of you. And now just briefly coming into energetics. Energetics asks your system, hey, where is this really weakening you to the extent that we can't access certain parts, like fear, often associated with kidneys, So maybe for a lot of you, it's going to go right to your kidneys, into the cells of your kidneys. It's going to run energetics where it's most needed to optimize your system for this specific pattern. Again, we follow an intention. And this intentional focus, power, power. Again, considering you're a dimensional being, you have past histories, you have your ancestral histories, you have this current life, which when we talk about the fear of darkness, most of you will go to stories of this life or memories from this life. But it's augmented by your genetics, it's augmented by your incarnational packets, it's augmented by the energies of the collective human consciousness that we all live in. Predispose whatever's happening or whatever has happened or whatever will still happen, because our energetic patterns really project where we're going and the decisions we're making and how we identify it and what we believe about it. Our worldview is made up. So energetics, clearing what needs to be cleared, especially anything really weakening, depleting, hurting your system. Oh, for some of you, it's going to your lower intestine, your stomach, your bladder, your genitals, your colon, your anus, your pelvic girdle. Pelvic girdle, very foundational, has to do with your sexuality. A lot of fear of darkness may have to do with sexuality or birthing or not birthing, or how you position yourself in the world based on your gender. Maybe there's fear and anger around that. Again, go back to that question of awareness. What is fearful about darkness to you right now, right in this moment? So again, go with the top of mind, go with whatever arises. Source right now working very physically in the body, to harmonize, to strengthen, to build up any energies, and to clear. Putting extra structures in your kidneys, some bridging structures to really help the energy. Oof. Someone has an acute disease or something that's really an illness, especially now with what's going on with ongoing viruses and respiratory, and we are pointing towards a continuing sickening society in many ways. Low kidney energy, it's always a part of that. So let's take even just a couple minutes. In fact, I'm going to bring some compressed chi energy just for your kidneys. And we're just going to take a moment to energize your kidneys. Clear and energize. Clear means pointing at any obstruction, any blocks, any constriction. Just this alone should be very, very beneficial to a lot of you, especially in this holiday season, right? Stress, you're stressed. Your kidneys, weak kidneys can't support you as well as they should. They're really affected by stress. For some of you, it's really your left kidney is really blocked. I may do a special session just on this. It's something called the Earthworker membership. And it's available to people who are um, consistently participating in multidimensional healing events and personal sessions. And it is a private web page filled with these kind of sessions. There's sessions of what's called a planetary puja. A lot of you are worked up about Mercury in retrograde. That helps that. It deals with calming the nervous system. There's sessions on vagus nerve. Oh my gosh, it's really popular. One on clearing the navel. And I try to do one per month. The last one I did was restoring lung health. Wow, amazing amount of feedback, especially again for people going through any kind of virus or recurring sickness, upper respiratory that are affecting your lungs, and anyone with lung disorders. And that's only available to Earthworker members. There's also tips and advice on there. It's something you get free. Just for participating in your own self-evolution. Yeah, there we go. Pieces of that fear are really embedded in your kidneys. Okay, so now we're just going to drop into a release portion called letting go, just for a couple minutes. Doing all that preparatory work, we don't need to spend a lot of time in releasing, because what we've done is really fine-tuned the deepest level of release that needs to be accessed for this particular healing. So what we're going to do is use an energy I call Debbie Grace. Debbie Grace is like, consider it this powerful, like power hose, power washer of energy, with the intention of clearing this fear of darkness wherever it exists in your system, whatever is most beneficial to you in the time we have available. For a lot of you, it's going to your brain consciousness, central nervous system. Again, some of you in your physical body, right around your legs, your lymph nodes, pelvic girdle, your stomach, your digestive system. Others of you, it's tied to anger. Fear and anger go hand in hand. Hurt and anger go hand in hand. Grief and anger. Again, trauma is intertwined. It's networked. And there's always a wound, a repressed wound underneath, feeding our beliefs, our habits, our thoughts about ourselves, our activities, our actions, our choices. When you look deep enough for it, all of us typically are on autopilot. We just kind of cruise through life and things get our awareness and they stir us up and we maybe throw our attention at it for periods of time and then we move on and something else happens. Again, this kind of distracted mentality, this surface mentality, and not all of you are doing it, but it is generally what's going on. All the apathy, all the complacency, to me, giant trauma responses. We're all responding from places of trauma, me included. I hold a lot of trauma. I'll spend the rest of my life getting trauma out of my system. I was born with it. I was formed with it. So, and that's why I was called to do this work. To me, I look upon it not as a curse, not even as a hardship, as a blessing. It's my best teacher, my greatest teacher. Even this latest injury happened at a key spot of constriction that I've had for years. Blew it wide open. Very grateful. And yes, it was painful. But to me, when something passes through right away, that is an energy shift. And it's only been 2.5 days, and I'm already feeling so much better. It's something that should be weeks. So, what do you call that? Grace. So, Debbie Gray is working at the sphere of darkness wherever it's needed in your system. Ugh, oh, for some of you, it's going to your throat chakra. Again, all the unexpressed fear, all the unexpressed. There's some rage in there. There's some frustration. Um, in your jaw, your prefrontal cortex. Oof. Wow, a lot of release going on. Whatever's going on in your system, just allow it. Surrender, let go, receive. You may be actually deep in sleep, or you may be zoned out, tuned out. Sometimes that's Source's way of getting you out of the way, working deeper. So we take so much time in preparation so that these patches, these phases of release are deep, quick, and again filled with so much grace. Yeah. Sphere of darkness for some of you, attached to pain, attached to trauma, attached to an old wound. So whatever is arising, just let it be. The word solstice, um, according to its origins, its Latin roots, literally means sun standing still. Because for many years, different places around the world really acknowledge the shortest day of the world of the season, longest night, as a marker for a return to the light, like a focal point. Okay, we spent a good portion of the winter in a cycle of seeds sleeping. Can almost be seen as like a return to innocence. And when we clear darkness and that patch of badness and patch of woundedness that makes you feel evil or makes you react or triggered by evil. That's the exact opposite of innocence, isn't it? What a beautiful thought. As we mine these dark layers, as we allow source to do it for us, as we allow the divine to do the heavy lifting for us, that patch of innocence comes back. Beautiful. It was a little intense at first, and now it's just leveling off. Just another minute or two. This can be such a grace-filled process. Okay, so if you're replaying this, I'm going to put structures in, which are little markers saying, okay, here's where we're going to leave off. And if you replay this, it'll pick up right where it left off. And do some deeper healing. So now coming into the next phase of integration. Integration is really important when we're working on dimensional levels and multiple levels of reality, because when we're connected to everything else and we move this puzzle piece over here, or we changed its shape, or we took one out entirely, that whole puzzle needs to come back together and reorganize, right? And we all know when we're not integrated, we can feel out of sorts for days, for months. So we'll just spend a little focused time integrating in all space, all time, all realities, all realms, all dimensions, interdimensionally, all fields, physicalizing and catching up, mainly going to the brain, the nervous system, the brain consciousness, the chakras, energy pathways, the energy bodies, the organs, the life fields, cellular function, intelligence system, luminous egg, your overall system and all of consciousness. To me, it feels like a settling, or it seems like a settling. Integration is sometimes where a lot of the noticeable work gets done, because we are working on such deep levels that it isn't until you integrate the changes that you kind of really notice in your system that there's more space, or there's more calmness, or there's more peace, or there's more accessibility to light. When we contemplate, and also, this seasonal change is a great time for contemplation, where sun standing still kind of implies stillness, right? That space between thoughts. And a lot of the wisdom keepers talk about that we all struggle and are challenged to find. So we can reflect on this pattern of darkness. integrate any of its meaning, any of its stories, any of its implications, any of its beliefs, identities, positions, that it cycles through like weather passing. That's what's left over. That's your homework. Because what we're illuminating, revealing, pulling up, like pulling weeds, but when we pull weeds, there's deeper roots. And of course, what happens when you pull up the deeper roots, it kind of upsets the ground soil for a while, right? Until it settles. That's kind of what happens with us when we pull up deeper patterns of darkness. Don't be surprised if you have some fear arising in the next day or two, a week or two, because it's asking you to meet it differently. Because in the past, what do we do with fear? Oh, distract it away, push it down, repress it, pretend it's not there, ignore it. So we can reflect on it, allow it to assimilate. And that's what seasonal change is about. Return to light is exposing, illuminating, deconstructing the darkness, allowing it to just be, to embrace whatever arises, whatever lessons, whatever wisdom. Whatever presence it brings. Beautiful. I'm running a little bit of what I call Deve therapy, which works on the psychological body, but it's like a dimensional therapist. It tends to lend clarity and insight, even if that clarity and insight lands later on. It's those little aha moments you might get. Again, we tend to work very deep in the subterranean, subconscious, hidden levels, but sometimes it's not so obvious. Sometimes it is. You have direct correlation. Sometimes, again, you just gently notice subtle changes. Our ability to handle stress or fearful events, or motivation to make changes, or be more present with disruptions. You only need a little bit of this to goes a long way, working all the way down to layer of genetics. And I love integration and Devi therapy. It always brings this sense of settling, this sense of calmness, this sense of coming back together. So in our last phase, we're coming into what I call the truth tower. It's a tree of truth. I have a deep affiliation, work with a lot of tree energy, what I call tree magic. It's literally the start of the work, which then grew into what I call Devi Earth magic, which is Devi energy, divine mother energy, the energy of creation, which brought in the Angel Jophiel, which is, illuminates beauty within, just this beautiful, magical, cosmic, mystical process of growth and evolution and awakening. This tree energy is tree magic has always been there. It's been like the foundational core. So we're coming back into tree magic now to remind you of your roots, of your blossoming, of your growth, as above, so below, of you as a divine being, deeply part, rooted in the earth. And when you come more into a central recognition, a recognition of this true nature within you, embodiment is a process of living it, which may take the rest of your life, or you may have glimpses of it, or you may have patches of it. We all know what being in love feels like. That's just a small window. Embodiment says, how can I live from this place of love? And living from this place of love means removing the obstacles being able to express it as a day-to-day opportunity. And so we're going to bring in the consciousness where you've already worked through this fear of darkness, because it exists like a blueprint, and you've transformed all those different trauma elements surrounding it. And, if you took notes, there's a lot of different rage and fear and hurt and frustration and resentment. And you've gained all the wisdom. That blueprint, that overlay exists. So we're going to bring it in so that you have a map to follow. Your system organically has a map to follow. Yep. So to me, it feels like a return, a lost piece of innocence. Part of yourself that trusts, sees people as good. It's connected to the beauty and wonder and awe of life. And that fear of darkness is what prevents people from really living and breathing and acting out of this place of innocence. So I'm going to add manifesting blueprints for this return to innocence within you. Again, dropping seeds of remembrance. Awakening isn't really any place to go. It's not an ascension process as much as it is a return. Remembrance. All these conditioned patterns of fear, of just like coats of illusion that we've earned with every single experience of our ancestors, of our past lives, of this life, of all the lives of all the people around us contributing to that same pattern. And the more we can take off these coats, these heavy weights, the more your natural self, this core innocence, just unfolds and rises like a flower, a tight flower bud that says, yawns, and just wants to pop up. Isn't that beautiful? There's nowhere to go. You are already there. It's just a process of removing the forgetfulness. We're going to spend the rest of our time together attuning and aligning with this return to innocence. Solstice Angels coming in. Angel Jophiel adding a lot of alchemical codes. And alchemical codes are like little seeds, little sparks of awareness, little flowers of presence. We're going to first bring them into our physicality and into our greater energy bodies. And in just a few moments, we're going to send them out to all of creation. But right now, we're just attuning and aligning, amplified by the presence of the solstice angels, to this return to innocence. The you that sees through the eyes of wonder, you that has spontaneous bursts of joy, that not only sees beauty externally, but witnesses the beauty within and yearns to live it more and more often, which is hard in a world of harshness and fear. It's almost an anomaly to walk around in innocence, although there's little bubbles of it. But if you're interacting in a greater world around us, there's a lot of fear out there and darkness. And so you're almost like an island of it, or a lighthouse. Imagine this lighthouse of innocence. And so that's what we do as earthwork. We allow the guides to amplify and radiate this outward like a lighthouse. Call it harmonic resonance, that interfaces and feeds into this greater morphogenetic fields of resonance that then plant these seeds available to everyone and everything, especially anything suffering from this fear of darkness, which is, wow, a lot. The angels, solstice angels, my mothers, all helping with this task, spreading it throughout all of creation, especially everyone celebrating solstice in their own way, joining together with those frequencies radiating around the planet. Seeds of innocence that will spark untold amounts of growth. And so we envision them floating around the world, up in the atmosphere, down into the soils, especially the microbes and the fungi, which are connected, of course, to everything, into the waters and lakes, all the oceans, deep into the core, up into the mountains, and everything in between, all plants, animals, all human hearts, all humanity, all insects, birds, marine life, everything, everything. Radiating a return to innocence, which, not coincidentally, is a return to light. And so do you see the wisdom, the source of the solstice angels that took us into the darkness, this fear that said, well, I'm not quite sure I trust that innocence because there's a part of me that thinks it's exact opposite that I don't even know about. And I won't claim because I'm either resisted, forgotten, or skipped over it, or I didn't even know about it. We went there today. Grace. When you can look at fear and evil and hate in the eye and let it pass right through you as an expression that exists in the human karmic field, and it holds no power over you, the effect you can have for change within your life, the decisions you make, the words you choose, the energy you radiate. That's where manifesting possibility and potential, that's where new visions come from. Not from the war on peace, from being peace, returning to light, returning to innocence. We're just going to go just a couple minutes long because it's, again, such a wondrous place to be in. Celebrating you, celebrating the divinity within us that is just resonating with the divinity within everything, in all of nature. That's why the earth is awakening. She's recognizing her divinity again as a dimensional being. And beauty arising within recognizes beauty externally, even in the darkest moments, even in the darkest hearts. There's beauty. It's, again, just covered up with fear, with coats of illusion, conditioned consciousness that keep us separate and acting out of that separation. What grace, miraculous grace. Attuning and aligning, celebrating and honoring the solstice eve, where so many pointing toward this vantage point in space where the sun stands still. In this swirling, twirling planet that's cascading through the universe. This little you is magnificent. In your ability to manifest change. Allow that innocence to blossom now and grow. or as we embrace the darkness, we make room for the light. That truly is the meaning of solstice. Light, your blossoming innocence, born out of the soil of the darkest night. Om Shanti Shanti. And as we come to an ending of this beautiful gathering together on this auspicious night, ending with a Sanskrit mantra that translates into may we be conduits, darkness and light. May we be led from truth to untruth, and from death to immortality. May we be peace and freedom, representing within us and radiating out through my words, thoughts, and actions. Om Asatoma Sakamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityarmaham Tramgamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari. May the innocence of light be welcome in your life as you continue to explore the darkness within. May there be peace on earth, and may again you be the light for that peace. Bring in the space of grace, of love, to amplify this innocence within and without. And also gratitude. Gratitude for all the multitudes of help you received here today, the Angel Jophiel, the goddesses Durga and Kali, the Solstice Angels. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And thank you for our time together, allowing me to be a conduit. Taking a deep breath, coming out of this space of grace, bowing my head again to your journey, to your path, to this time together. It is done. It is complete. So it is, so it is, so it is. You may still be flowing in the space of return to light and innocence. So take a few minutes. Don't get linear too soon. Spend 5-10 minutes, or as long as you feel called. Until next time, be blessed.